Hi, my name is John Wood, and we're in the second session of Duets. I'm with Pastor Rand from Universe Ministries.
Hello.
And I'm with Pastor Joe from Exchange Church.
Hello.
Yeah, and so today our topic is going to be about thankfulness. It's the holidays that are coming around and Thanksgiving, and so we wanted to kind of take this topic and apply it to our relationships, whether we're dating, engaged, or married. Okay, so I have a few questions. I'm not quite sure who we're going to go first with. Let's just throw it at you, Rand. When I think about thankfulness in my relationship, I can list off things like, oh, I'm just happy she helped me today do chores, or I'm thankful that she complimented me in this way. And there's things that, like, because it's situational, because of the event that day, I'm thankful for that. Are there certain things that we should be specifically thankful for? Things that we should be more aware of? We might easily overlook it in particular?
Are there things that we should be specifically thankful for?
Yeah.
Well, I think that the two functions that we're really aiming at for husband and wife is to present your bride spotless, and to treat regard your husband as the church should regard Christ. So, the things that we're thankful for should be what kind of falls in line with that. I think, like, does your husband or wife make you better at following Christ? I think ultimately it comes down to that.
Right.
Is your giftedness enhanced? Is your service and participation at church improved? Have you increased your ability to reach a wider network of people, or serve with greater capacity, etc., etc.?
Okay. Yeah, that's very full in terms of like each of the things you listed. I think that's something that we could all just think about in particular, like, what about this one? What about my service? What about my gifting? And so I think that's a good connection to our topic last time about how does my relationship affect my faith? Yeah, and keeping that in mind. Joe, something to add to that?
I think that thankfulness is kind of, it's a funny thing, just saying, hey, why don't you focus on these certain things to be thankful for, is not really going to necessarily make somebody thankful for those things.
Right.
I was just thinking about it, and I don't know if you guys have seen 500 Days of Summer. Do you guys remember that?
I fell asleep.
Okay, well, there's this part where, I don't even remember who's in it, but it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt, right? And he likes Zooey Deschanel.
Yeah.
And there's one part in the movie where he loves her, and he says, I love everything about her, and he kind of lists off these things, I love her smile, and her crooked teeth, and the way she laughs, and these things. And there's another part of the movie where she says, he says, it's almost the same monologue, but he hates all those things about her. It's I hate her smile, I hate the way she laughs, I hate her crooked teeth, and it's kind of, to me, it just reminds me that thankfulness is not necessarily something that you control by way of, hey, focus on this and focus on that and focus on. It's really more of a kind of a posture of heart, right? A general disposition that you have. I like the things that Rand listed. I may or may not be thankful if my wife is actually doing those things for me. For example, helping me improve my leadership, or my, because some of those things come with a critical component, right? And I'm either going to be thankful if I'm really understanding that is something beneficial to me and something that we're doing together in Christ, or I'll be, angry or bitter, right? Why are you attacking me, or why are you trying to kind of change these things about me? And so I think a lot of it has to do with our general kind of attitude and what we're really looking for. I
want to, just what makes someone better at being a Christian and stuff. I don't ask my wife to help me write a sermon. That's very much something I do kind of by myself. I don't look for someone else to help me brainstorm or anything. But just knowing that she supports me and she cares about how it comes out, and even tells other people, I wish you could hear his sermons or something. I know she stands by me, and I think that just it makes me feel stronger, and so I walk in with a little more confidence and a little, just a better attitude about how I'm preparing, because I know she's in support of it. She gives me a lot of space to work, and when I'm working, she doesn't let me get bothered by other things and stuff. And I very much appreciate that by what she what she doesn't do. Like she doesn't have me do chores or anything while I'm working. She doesn't let people come and bother me, etc. But like I think naturally the human being is inclined to think about things that we don't like. You walk out of a movie and it's really easy to go like, I didn't like this, and you walk out of a sermon and it's really easy to nitpick on that stuff. It's the same with people. It's really easy to figure out what you don't like and just kind of dwell on that. But it's hard to go like, I really enjoyed this, and kind of bring that out. And if it's not something big and epic, if it's just something small and subtle, it really gets kind of forgotten. And so I think a discipline of ours is to continue to see what's good and to appreciate it, and to bring it to mind. And Philippians, I think it's 4 verses 8 and 9 says, whatever's true and noble and right and pure and lovely and admirable, if anything's excellent or praiseworthy, think about these things.
Right.
And like that reminds us that like we could be as critical as we want, but that's not gonna increase our faith, and that's not gonna improve our ability to follow Christ. We want to think on the things that He wants us to think on.
Yeah, to me, I think that's what I'm learning a lot in my marriage, is that it's a discipline. It's something where, like, it's not a checklist either. That's a hard thing. Like, you don't want to like, well, did she do this today? I'll be thankful for that. Hey, thank you. You did number 4. And so I totally agree. It's a posture of heart. And so it's kind of a balance, right?
Yeah.
It's the posture of heart thing, but at the same time, it's about being aware, being intentional, being alert about it, and not just defaulting to our natural tendency to look for critical things and to think about those things that are noble and good and honorable. And so I guess it's something we'll continue just to explore. If my wife and I, or me and my girlfriend, are in a time of conflict, and it's not just like tonight on our date we're in conflict, but like it's been like a day, it's been a week, it's just in a struggling time to get along. How can I remain thankful even in those times?
I mean, of course. I mean, we've been in those. I think we've all been in those situations before. I don't know if. I want to say a couple things. I don't know if we've really drawn some kind of thankfulness from each other in those situations. I think sometimes when things are hard, things are just hard, and just in us kind of coming together and coming, I think, in humility before God and really seeking God for comfort, seeking God for peace, seeking God to kind of be, our rock and our solace, has brought us into kind of an attitude and a posture of thankfulness. And I don't know if, I didn't really get to finish my answer because Rand just jumped in and interrupted me, but, which he often does. But, what I was trying to kind of point at is that, of course, no, I totally agree. It is a discipline to look for the things that are important, that to be grateful for, to be thankful for. And yet, if we don't start with God, if we don't start at this place where we're thankful just to be alive, we're thankful to be forgiven, we're thankful that God has given us this gift of our partner, then we're never going to make it, right? I mean, if we just do the checklist thing without the other side, without really having kind of the motivation that comes from the gospel, then we're not going to get to that place, and it's ultimately going to land us in a place of entitlement where we're just like, hey, I'm doing all these things for you, why don't you do these things for me? I'm being such a good kind of partner, like, where are you at? Where's your stuff? But then the other thing I wanted to say just about this is that when you are in those times of struggle, and you do kind of articulate that gratefulness, and there's times where I've totally found myself in this situation, and even right now, just recently, like, we went through kind of a rough couple months because her pregnancy was very difficult, and so I'd be doing all these things for her, and of course in my sinfulness I'm getting entitled, and thinking like, man, I'm doing all these things, but she's the one suffering, and but there's those times where I'm like running all around, and then I'll come home and I have like all these bags and stuff and things that I'm gonna give to her, and she'll just say like, oh, thank you, like, thank you, you're such a good like husband, thank you for doing these things for me. And all of a sudden, all that entitlement, it just goes away, right? Everything I felt like, oh, I need this and I deserve this and why am I doing this? All of a sudden it's just gone. And I feel like that's something so powerful that happens when you can just encourage each other and love each other and have that attitude.
Okay, when when you're in a fight, I think I'm going to bring it back to the Bible because Joe didn't do that, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
I'm leaving it for you. I'm giving you opportunities.
Like, let's come back to Genesis, right? When Adam and Eve were just caught for the whole forbidden fruit thing, right? Adam's hiding, and then God's like, okay, what's going on, right? And Adam says, the woman that you put here with me, she did this, and there's a lot of blaming and stuff. I think in that time when you're in conflict, you can't easily muster up thankfulness, toward one another immediately. The first thing that has to happen is just kind of an honest examination of where both parties are at. For Adam, if he had a moment to sit back and say, like, I messed up, that was my responsibility, I was supposed to lead her, and I should have kept her accountable, not just sat there, watched her sin, and then participated in it. If he had a moment to realize that he was just as much, if not more, at fault, he was held responsible for that moment, then I think he would have treated her very differently, because he'd have a realistic perspective on himself, in any fight, if you think you're sinless in this fight, whenever you're angry at someone, if you think you're sinless in that, there's something very dangerous about that. It's something that I think that the enemy can use very much to your advantage, to think that you're self-righteous. And so I think gratitude has to come from the posture of knowing that I'm in the trenches too, and I'm in the pit just as much as anyone else is. That all ground is level at the foot of the cross, and because we both stand at the feet of Jesus, I'm not above her, she's not above me. We both stand, and we need forgiveness and repentance, and then you can extend that thankfulness and gratitude toward each other for whatever you do receive. Having no entitlements. I think an honest examination of the self would breed a good perspective on how you're thankful for your partner.
So for the last question, I just want to ask about more of a practical way. What can I do to be more thankful in my relationship? What are some specific practical things I can do?
I will start. Okay, I think perspective is first. How do I say it? I think you can view your relationship in like 3 different ways. You can either see it as like a gift that God has given you. When someone gives you a gift, you're just thankful for it. Even if it's like something not that good, like someone buys you food and it's not that great, you can still be like, thanks for the gift.
Yeah.
Or you can view your relationship more like like a TV show. You watch it and you decide, do I like it or do I not like it? Did I like this episode or not? Did I like it today or did I dislike it today? Or you can view it like a burden, like it's work. I have to do this because if I don't, everyone's going to get mad at me. I think it's either a gift or it's like a show, that you sit there and you evaluate, or it's a burden that you just go and you feel like you have to do. It's like a chore. And if you understand that it's a gift, I think that if you just kind of sit back and realize that, I think it will frame the way that you talk to one another, and even how you argue and how you forgive. I think all of that will be influenced by your perspective on what you think it is. Yeah, other things. I think when you fight, something that we were taught was if you're gonna like bring up a criticism, you kind of have to sandwich that between compliments. I always thought that was like a cheesy way to do things, but then it actually comes down to be very, very effective. To say something nice and then say, but can you work on this? And then say something nice again, like, but I really appreciate, whatever. I think that really detours a lot of misunderstanding and, like the possibility of feeling like you're unappreciated because you've just heard more than once how valuable you are, significant you are to someone, and then you're just asked to improve on something, and that's a lot more palpable, a lot more palatable, and easier to swallow.
Yeah, no, I think that totally. I think a lot of the things, even that we talk about when, for example, if I'll do like premarital counseling with a couple, and of course, there are those techniques, those specific things that you're supposed to do, like giving affirmation before you give some kind of criticism. And I think one of the great things about that is that it affirms in them that what has happened, the way that they have hurt you, is kind of like an exception. It's not the rule. It's not like this is the way you are, and I dislike this about you. It's more like, I love this about you. I actually love you as a person, and I love that you do these things and you care for me in this way. But this is what happened this one time, and it kind of helps. It is a lot more palatable. It's much easier to hear that than to hear, hey, you're always this way and you're so annoying, or something like that. And so I do think that a lot of those things, while seemingly very cheesy or very kind of like
overly simplistic.
Do we need this rule? Do we have to use this? Do we have to speak in this way in terms of like how I feel rather than how what you did, kind of thing? And I do think that those things are very helpful. When Bowie and I were, before we got married, when we were engaged, they would tell us, hey, do these things. Take time aside every night and give some affirmation to each other. Tell each other how you've helped each other out, or tell one another, why you love them, or why. I mean, obviously, it's not like why you love them. It's not the basis of your covenant, but it's kind of like things that you like about them. And we totally thought, oh, this is so lame. Like, why are we doing this? We don't need this. But when you started doing it, and it feels good, right? It feels good to actually say that, and it feels good to hear it, and you kind of don't want to admit it, but you realize, hey, this is something we need more of. And I think setting some time aside, excuse me, to do that.
Yeah.
To say, hey, in this space, I know a lot of people have date nights and things like that. In this space, we're not gonna go into this other stuff. We're not gonna talk about these areas of criticism. We're not gonna go into this. It's just, hey, this space is just for us to kind of enjoy each other, to love each other, and another thing I would kind of throw in there is pray together. And I think when you really pray together and you pray together to God, I mean, I know we probably all pray together at meals and things like that, but to set some side, I just did it again. What's wrong with me?
Set it aside.
Set some time aside, right, to actually pray together for these things. It really gets you in the habit, of being more thankful and more grateful.
Right.
It's one of those disciplines that we build up as Christians. We don't want to forget the joy of our salvation, and so we're constantly remembering what Christ did and who He is and all that stuff. I think the very principle applies to how we regard people, especially to your spouse, to your girlfriend, to your boyfriend, whatever. The closer they are to you, certainly you have more to remember on who they are and why you love them, and don't let what you love about them grow cold. Don't let that stop being amazing. Don't get over the person that you're with. Just stay amazed and stay grateful for who's in your life. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I totally think that it is a discipline. It is something that we have to bring to remembrance that the girlfriend, fiance, wife, they are a gift to us, right, from God. And keeping that in mind, I think that it's going to escape at times, but we have to take hold of that and keep that at the forefront in order to remain thankful that it is a gift at all times. Even in times, I think, in struggle, that's the challenge is there. That's where the battle is. So, okay, well, thank you guys once again, and we'll see you in the next session.